So let's just start where Kate just left off, and that is the discussion that we're seeing being had by many chains around the country and companies around the country around vaccines, and whether companies are going to mandate them and/or financially incentivize them for their workers.
Yeah, I can tell you, we're not going to mandate any vaccinations. That seems to be a sort of a personal choice. We probably are going to offer up some sort of financial incentive for our teams. I think that's a good idea. We had this conversation literally yesterday, so we're probably going to offer some sort of an incentive for our folks once they become available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, in terms of vaccine rollout and what that means for foot traffic in your restaurants right now, I guess just give us a sense of what you are seeing as we kick off 2021. There's been a lot of talk that restaurants such as yours are seeing a little bit of a bump from the stimulus checks that have been going out.
Yeah, well, we're certainly seeing a bump from the stimulus checks. That's always helpful. It gets to people in need, and it tends to come right back into the economy very quickly. What we're seeing is really a mixed bag of results. We have places where we have absolutely no dining indoors whatsoever. Those are still very hard hit. And then we have places where it's essentially wide open. What's interesting is we don't see a material difference in infection rates. We went into this thing day one saying if we protect our team members, then we're protecting our guests, because our team members are in the building 8-10 hours a day. If restaurants were super spreaders, then we would see our team members and our managers over-index relative to the rest of the population, and we just aren't seeing that. So we're anxious to get our restaurants back open safely for our guests and to get our team members back to work as soon as possible.
Yeah, and certainly what we're seeing in terms of contact tracing, I think speaks to that point you just made. Just to shift gears a little bit, we have this next wave of stimulus that's been proposed by President Biden. Folded in there is that $15 federal minimum wage, a doubling of the federal minimum wage, but also folded in there alongside that is basically the elimination of the tipped wage. I wonder if you've run those numbers and what that would mean for your staff, for your restaurants, if we were to see the minimum wage for them jump as extremely as it would, given where tipped wages are currently.
Yeah, the jump in the tip wage is really where we have an issue. I think as the second largest private employer in the country, we would welcome the opportunity to partner with the administration and have a robust conversation around minimum wage. What I don't want to see is inequity in my business, right? If the cooks are making $15 to $18 an hour, and then suddenly the waitresses are now making $40 an hour, that doesn't make any sense to me. The minimum wage is the minimum wage. You hear sound bites. I think it's dangerous to talk about minimum wage, a big issue like this, in sound bites, because they're misleading. To say I think a waitress deserves to make more than $2.10 an hour is incendiary. No waitress in America makes $2.10 an hour. Every single person that works in America is guaranteed the federal minimum wage. If tips don't make up the difference, the company does. So for us, where we really have an issue is around tip credit. We're already significantly above the minimum, the $15 minimum for most of our back of the house employees. That's not a real big deal. In the front of the house, where we spend a lot of hours, we would clearly be cutting back hours if something that dramatic happened, and we'd have to materially raise prices, which it doesn't feel like that would be right. So to do that to the restaurant industry after what we've been through would be disastrous.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.